up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you're new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we're in the brand new 2023 Subaru Forester, courtesy of Younger Motor Cars in Hagerstown, Maryland. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And so we are in this one today for one because it is extremely hard to find. I've been wanting to review this one for quite a while. I finally found one, a pre-owned one with only 3,000 miles on it, but nonetheless I found it. But anyways, not only that, you also have great resale value really with any Subaru as well, and also the best all-wheel drive system in existence. So ultimately in this video we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2023 Forester. First one being the base, starting at $26,395, premium for $29,395, sport for $30,965, wilderness for $34,020, limited, which actually is the one we are in today, starting at $33,075, and lastly the touring going for $36,495. But regardless of trim level that you go with, the power plant on the Forester is actually going to be the same. Powering the beast is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder boxer engine, putting out 182 horsepower at 5,800 RPM, 176 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 4,400 RPM. That power is going to be sent to all four wheels through Subaru's legendary symmetrical all-wheel drive system. Power is going to be sent to the ground through a CVT with paddle shifters if you were to go with the sport trim level and up at least. 0 to 60 time is going to come in at approximately 8 seconds flat, with MPG numbers then coming in at 26 in the city, 33 on the highway, taking regular unleaded fuel. And so before we do any kind of fun acceleration or paddle shifter test here in the Forester, I wanted to mention to you guys the drive modes, because there's a couple different setups when it comes to the drive modes. For example, on the steering wheel there is an S and an I kind of on the right hand side. That's the SI drive that essentially puts you in either a sport or intelligent drive mode, adjusting things like the shift points and the throttle response essentially. But then there is also your X mode kind of drive modes, and that's the circular dial located directly behind the shifter. And that's going to give you normal, snow and dirt, and then deep snow and mud drive modes, and that's going to adjust the all-wheel drive system engagement, giving you the best possible traction in order to get you out of any of those situations. So if the legendary all-wheel drive system wasn't enough, you also have that X mode, so that is pretty darn cool. But anyways, having got all of that out of the way, let's now go ahead and find a straightaway. Let's go ahead and test out the paddle shifters here first, because we do have them. Not all trim levels will get them, but to put it in that full manual shift mode, simply slide the shifter all the way to the back and to the left, and then that is going to tell you what simulated gear you were in up on the digital portion of the gauges. And I put it that way because it is a continuously variable transmission after all. It's not technically gears that I'm going to be shifting through. But anyways, let's go ahead and find this straight away, and let's put the paddle shifters here to the test and acceleration. So let's see how quickly the paddle shifters are going to react for us, and let's see how quickly we can get our new Subaru Forester here up to speed. All right, and here we go. All right, paddle shifters aren't bad. Now keep in mind, again, it's simulated shifting, but if you wanted to have some fun with the shifting, it actually imitates an automatic transmission quite well. It really does feel like you're kind of shifting through gears if there were any. So I do like the paddle shifters for that reason. Of course, you can also use them for engine braking. So if you're going down a mountain like I'm about to hit here, if you're going down a mountain in the snow and you didn't want to hit the brakes and risk sliding off the road, you can always simply downshift a little bit, do a little bit of engine braking, so you're less likely to slide off the road. So I do like them for that as well. As far as acceleration goes, the way I would describe the acceleration here in the Forester is it's zippy or peppy at lower speeds. So when you hit the gas, it instantly throws you forward, which I like. I like those fun little zippy cars. It's like you're driving a little subcompact around city streets kind of thing. That's what the acceleration feels like. But once you really get into it, like merging onto the highway, it is a little bit slow. It's 0 to 60 in 8 seconds. So it's not the quickest thing in the world, but it'll definitely get the job done. You're not going to have any issues in merging onto the highway. So I don't mind it. I like the zippiness of it. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So braking setup is actually going to differ depending upon the trim level that you go with, believe it or not. So for that base trim level, you get 11.6-inch ventilated front discs. And then for the premium trim level and up, it's actually bumped up to 12.4-inch ventilated front disc, so a little bit bigger of a braking setup if you were to go with the premium trim level and up. But then in the back, it's going to be the same, coming in at 11.2-inch solid rear disc. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, it comes in at a pretty respectable 125 feet. There's nothing wrong with that. Since there's nobody behind us, let me just hit the brakes. Definitely on the firmer side of things. I love the braking feel in this thing. So I was expecting a much softer braking feel, because typically in SUVs, that is what you get, a very spongy, squishy, soft braking feel, which I'm not a fan of. I don't think anyone's a fan of that. So I love the firm braking feel in the Forester. You typically don't get that again in SUVs, but as far as that 125-foot number, it's pretty average for the segment. So some SUVs come in the 130s. If you're going with the luxury brands, it'll be in the 110s. So 125 feet, that's pretty much on par for the course. But then touching on suspension and handling, up front, you're going to get an independent strut type front suspension. In the back, independent double wishbone type rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. As far as ride quality goes, it's been perfectly fine actually in my short test drive here today, so absolutely no issues with that. Definitely absorbing the road imperfections quite nicely, so I have no issues there. As far as steering feel goes, it does tend to lean a little bit on the looser side of things, but that is to be expected with an SUV like the Forester. It's not a sports car after all, so it's definitely something I wouldn't mind for this, what this vehicle is, I'll put it that way. As far as wind noise goes, we're going 30 miles per hour right now. There isn't a whole lot of wind or cabin noise, of course, at this low speed, but back there I was getting a little bit of engine noise, so you do get a little bit of that, but it's not anything that would bother me personally, so you shouldn't have any issues either for that reason. But then taking a look at visibility, looking out my rear view mirror there, I can see perfectly fine out the back, so rear visibility is definitely not an issue either. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2023 Subaru Forester. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2023 Subaru Forester. So definitely looking good out in the wilderness here. Let's go ahead and start with where this one is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the letter J, indicating that the 2023 Forester is built and assembled in Japan. JDM, as it should be. But let's go ahead and start up front on this one. LED steering responsive headlights with LED daytime running lights. So the steering responsive, that is an optional feature on a lot of luxury manufacturers, so I really want to emphasize that. Essentially what that is when you're going around a bend at night, the headlights are going to swivel based on the direction of your steering angle, better help illuminating what is around that bend, so you're less likely to hit a pedestrian, a cyclist, or a bear, or whatever the case. So that is definitely a very nice safety feature to have, and again, it's very rarely found on most new vehicles these days, so I love that Subaru does that, so really wanted to emphasize that. Automatic feature coming with this headlights as well, meaning when it starts to get dark at night, headlights will turn on automatically for you there, but also automatic high beams. I love that feature. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim your high beams back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically then bounce it back up to high beams. So definitely something I use all the time as I'm driving to work at night, typically in the morning. So big fan of that. And down below, you guys could probably see them. Fog lights do come standard on the premium and the limited, and by the way, we do have the limited trim level with us here today, and LED fog lights then for the sport, touring, and wilderness. And the wilderness trim is actually going to give you a little bit different of a design to those LED fog lights as well. But overall, definitely looks like a Forester up front. I don't mind the front end, definitely looks good in my personal opinion, but that pretty much rounds out the front end. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the side of the Forester. All right, so now since we are around to the side of this one, raised roof rails are going to come standard on the premium trim level and up. Rear privacy glass also coming standard on the premium trim level and up. I wanted to emphasize that because that is kind of odd in my opinion. The base trim level actually does not get rear privacy glass, so keep that in mind. Black window surrounds is going to come on the base, premium, sport, and wilderness trims. Chrome window surrounds then coming on the limited and touring, again what you guys are looking at right now. As far as the side mirrors go, matte black side mirrors are going to come with the base, body colored side mirrors with the premium, sport, and limited trim levels, and then a black hexagonal texture with the wilderness, and then satin chrome side mirrors for the touring. So they are going to differ pretty substantially depending upon the trim level, so that is kind of interesting. But with integrated turn signals for the sport trim level and up, then there will be heated side mirrors for the premium trim level and up. Then last thing I wanted to mention on the side here is taking a look at the wheel setup. 17-inch steel wheels with covers for the base trim level, 17-inch aluminum alloys for the premium and the wilderness, and then 18-inch aluminum alloys coming with the sport, limited, and touring. But that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the Forester here, all the way to the top, body color shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. Just below that, rear window wiper. When it comes to those taillights, they are LED taillights. That does come standard, so added illumination at night. That isn't always the case. C-shaped design, definitely looks good back there. Just below it all, the exhaust finish is going to differ slightly dependent upon the trim level that you go with. So if you do go with the sport trim level and up though, you will get a single stainless steel tip. Otherwise, there's going to be no fancy exhaust tip to this thing. So anyways, that is what you guys are looking at. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next. As always, here is that exhaust clip. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the Forester, when it comes to opening that rear liftgate, it is a power liftgate if you were to go with the limited or touring trim levels. Otherwise, it is going to be a manual liftgate. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 28.9 cubic feet for that base trim level, a little bit less for the premium trim level and up, coming in at 26.9 cubic feet. With those rear seats down then, that bumps it up to 74.2 cubic feet for the base trim, but all other trims are going to come in at 69.1 cubic feet. Still plenty of space for this thing though. Removable cargo tray is going to come on the sport trim level and up. However, all trim levels are going to get cargo lighting back there, grocery bag hooks as well, tie down anchors, and if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will actually find some in-floor storage down there as well. Not a ton, but still little is better than nothing. And there is a cargo cover available along with a 12-volt power outlet back there too. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, that is going to come in at 39.4 inches. For reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I have back there, so plenty of space for me. Rear center armrest with cup holders coming with the premium trim level and up. Dual rear USB charging ports for the sport trim level and up, and you can actually get heated rear seats on the Forester only if you go with the touring trim level, but I do love the fact that they are available here. But then making our way up to the front seats, manually adjustable cloth seating coming with the base, power adjustable driver seat for the premium trim level and up, heated front seats for the premium trim level and up as well. Softex upholstery is going to come on the wilderness trim level, but leather seating, what we have today, is going to come on the limited and touring trim levels. So overall though, as far as seat comfort goes, it was plenty fine. I certainly didn't have any issues there, so I could see no issues going on a long road trip with the Forester here. Then take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It is leather wrapped for the premium trim level and up, and it will be heated only if you go with the touring trim level. So I will say that there is an available option for the limited where you can get a heated steering wheel as well. We actually do have that option, so that is pretty cool. But then making our way to the startup, let me start by showing you guys the key here. Essentially all of your buttons are located on one side of the key. Lock, unlock, that button to pop the rear tailgate there. But I will say the Subaru logo is going to be the unlock button for anybody not familiar with Subarus already. They always do that, which is pretty cool. But it is all keyless entry with the push button start for the premium trim level and up. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button located just by the driver's right knee. And so once started up, tachometer is all the way to your left, speedometer is on your right, and there is a small digital display front and center, which is pretty darn cool. To control what is on that digital display, there are some steering wheel controls kind of found behind the steering wheel on the left-hand side there, giving you things like how many miles you have left until you hit empty, outside temperature. There's a digital speedometer if you wanted to set it on that. Of course, the SI drive can be displayed up there as well, along with what gear you're in. So pretty much everything you could possibly want on the digital portion of the gauges then. But then making our way to overall interior quality, there is a panoramic moonroof that does come standard on the premium trim level and up. It is a one piece, and it almost kind of goes into the rear seats, but it is plenty large, so definitely lets in a ton of light, I will say that. LED interior lighting coming standard for all trim levels across the board. I love that. Overhead sunglass holder, yet again, all trim levels are going to get that. Automatic climate control does come standard, but I will say if you go with the wilderness trim level and up, you will find dual zone climate control, so both driver and passenger can set their own temperatures there. Just in front of the shifter is a little bit of rubberized storage. Just behind the shifter, you have an electromechanical parking brake, couple cup holders, and within the center armrest, a little bit of decent amount of space in there with this 12-volt power outlet as well. I love the texturized finishes. I will say that, found just above the passenger side glove box as well as on the doors. I think that's a nice little added touch. But what really gets me is the tech in this one, and it's kind of in a good way, kind of a throwback way. But first, let me start by saying there's two tech screens. There's kind of like this upper screen where you can control what is on that upper screen by using the steering wheel mount controls again on the left hand side. So gives you things like outside temperature, what day of the week it is, the date. So very useful information. And again, all you need to do is just hit the info button on the left hand side of the steering wheel. It gives you safety features. There's elevation actually up there as well. Gives you weather forecast, a compass, a lot of cool stuff. Actually, just looking through it now, that is pretty cool. I like that. Anyways, but then there's the other tech screen. And first, let me start by mentioning, yes, a CD player does come standard. So that's one of the cool throwback things, I guess. You don't find CD players like at all now. So Subaru still got it on the Forester, so gotta love it. 6.5-inch color touchscreen display coming with the base, premium, and sport trim levels. 8-inch color touchscreen display, then coming with the wilderness trim level and up. Bluetooth and audio streaming coming standard either way. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay still standard either way, so that's fine. Factory navigation system coming with the touring trim level only. And overall was super easy to use. Of course, you can check out your radio information up there as well. So when it comes to the sound systems, there's 3 of them. 4 speakers is going to come on the base trim level. 6 speakers coming on the premium, sport, wilderness, and limited. And then there is a 9-speaker Harman Kardon sound system with 576 watts coming on the touring, optional for the limited. We do have that option. So having said that, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. Bass is ridiculous, guys. That was an excellent sound system actually for the Forester. Clarity was great. Bass is ridiculous. That was brilliant. Wonderful sound system with the Forester, without a doubt. But last thing I want to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put the Forester in reverse, you will, of course, find a rear view camera coming standard across the board. But if you were to go with that wilderness trim level, you're also going to get a 180-degree front view monitor as well, because that is the off-road trim level after all. But as always, that is going to lead us into safety. And so first, let me start by mentioning the best part, IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, which is the very highest designation given by IIHS. That pretty much says it all right there. Front side curtain airbags do come standard. There's a driver's knee airbag up front as well. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors or tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, Subaru EyeSight. And so that is going to include pre-collision braking system, pre-collision throttle management, lane departure and sway warning, adaptive cruise control with lane centering, and there's some other features for some other trim levels as well I wanted to mention. So like the blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert coming with the sport trim level and up. And if you were to go with the wilderness or touring, you will also get reverse automatic braking. And so overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the 2023 Forester, best all-wheel drive system built for powering through the snow. I remember a video I watched on YouTube a while ago where they literally tested all the all-wheel drive SUVs in existence to see how far up a hill of snow they would get. And I believe it was the Subaru Forester that got the furthest. So Subaru originally designed their all-wheel drive system built for rally racing through dirt and snow, and that is why it is still the very best all-wheel drive system in existence. So you're going to need that here in Western Maryland because it does snow every now and then. Great resale value as well. You got great safety, as I just mentioned, plenty of cargo space. As far as room for improvement goes, it is a bit slow, but having said that, it's not going to bother me because it does have that little bit of peppy or zippiness to the acceleration, which I absolutely love. And the other thing is the interior quality is kind of on the basic side of things. Now, I will say with the trim level that we have today, it's not horrible, but on the lower trim levels, it is definitely on the basic side. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of the 2023 Forester in the comments section below. And that is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media if you want to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews, because that is what we do here on this channel. After all, do appreciate you guys watching more than you know. I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold. I'm gonna open up the panoramic moonroof. Bye.